right, let's turn to our second conversation now, which has to do with the court order that actually gave rise to the seizure of Nigerian jets in France. That issue, which was thought by some people to be, who knows, maybe a storm in a teacup, as they say, has now become a burgeoning problem. We now see governor and former governors coming together, hopefully to put heads together, all right, to find a solution. And then we've also seen the back and forth between immediate past governor of Ogun State, Ibikole Amosu, and frontline political economist, Patu Tommy, now exchanging blames about a transaction that had also gone south in that state at some point. But as it stands today, Nigeria has a lot to lose, given what we have heard or what we are hearing coming out from these developments between a Chinese firm and Ogun State government. And the question is, how did that become a problem of Nigeria as against being an issue between Ogun State government and this Chinese company?
Well, you see, I see the governors talking back and forth and other economists getting involved. It's really not where it is. That's not the problem. The Chinese company came to Ogun State in 2013. They invested in the free trade zone. They made, infrastructure as well as other, investments in that area. By 2016, the relationship has gone sour. So Ogun State,
by now, Ibikole Amosu was the governor.
I think so.
By 2016.
Yes. So now the Ogun State said, okay, we are not happy with the outcome of this, so we want to end the relationship. How the relationship ended was the problem. The agreement was between Ogun and the Chinese firm. It's a joint venture agreement. It should have ended with within the agreement what has been.
So there also has to have been an exit clause in the agreement.
But I was understanding that there was even some abuses in terms of the personnel. Some were arrested, some were locked up, and the state did not care to really follow the agreement. That's what I was told, and that's what I have read. But even if that is the case, the Chinese firm went to arbitration. Within the agreement, there is arbitration clause. Arbitration says we have agreed, you and I have agreed, that we will allow someone to sit down and decide who has been, injured and what is the compensation. That happened, and in 2021, the arbitration panel sided with the Chinese firm, and they gave them compensation for $56 million. They gave them interest for about $10 million, and they gave them cost of about £3 million. This was in 2021. Between 2021 and 2023, Nigeria challenged this arbitration award. So we went to court. Before then, there was no court case because this is arbitration.
Was it Nigeria or Ogun State government again?
Nigeria, because now the international law says that if an entity is under the control or under the supervision of a nation, then that nation becomes liable. So Nigeria became liable automatically. So now that we have a judgment against us or arbitration against Nigeria, we went to court. The courts along the way, there are three. They went to UK, they went to US, they went to Canada, then they ended up in France. All the courts sided with the claimant, that is the Chinese firm. And there was also other things that we did that was wrong. We failed to respond on time. We didn't meet deadlines for appeals. This is, as almost we're repeating the same thing we did with P and AID paid, that 11 billion that was fined.
So do you think this is going the P and ID way again?
It becomes a propensity by Nigerian legal system not to follow up quickly. Why do we do that? There is a case that is going to injure us. We should be there at the door waiting for the judge to sit so that we can present our case. We don't do that. There are many days that we didn't even show up. And we have to go back and apply for extension and extension. So this ended in 2023 when finally the UK court said there is nothing they can do to remove this award. Nigeria has to pay. So this happened in October 2023 or thereabouts. Now, between then and now, we have now made the decision either to pay or to go and challenge it again or whatever until these people went to France. And France granted their request. Since we have property in France, they said, okay, you can attach it. And this is what happened. So if you look at the story, I don't know what the government is doing. I mean, the governor of Ogun is doing now. because they are the ones who created the problem in 2016. It's too late for them to do anything because they are not the ones being sent to arbitration. It's the Nigerian government now that is facing.
Former governor of the states, now is Senator Benga Daniel, says he has documents he can bring forward in support of this case. Is that medicine after death?
No, yes. It's too late. And look at the panel for the arbitration. The chairman of the arbitration is the UK. One of the arbitration panelists is also from the UK, and one is from Nigeria. The one from the UK is appointed by the Chinese firm. The one from Nigeria is appointed by the Nigerian government. So we were at the table. So there is no fraud in terms of the government. The government is saying there is fraud. We were at the table. We are part of the arbitration. Who committed the fraud? The issue is there is a legal issue, and the arbitration did not go our way. So as Nigeria, if we know we have lost the case, let's pay these people and get it over with. If we know they have lost the case, let's go somewhere else and ask for, redress. But we cannot be playing this game of, newspapers and, press releases. That's not going to help us.
But we already know that there has been this bad blood between immediate past governor of the states, Senator Ibikole Amosun, and the incumbent governor, Dapo Abiodun, even though they are supposed to be members of the same party. Do you see that rubbing off on the outcome of this issue right now?
This is, I think so. But let me venture a guess. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. But all governors, when one leaves and another one comes in, we have a tendency to start over. So we do not continue with the programs or the agreements
of
the previous governors. And that creates this type of problem for us. It could be. Because I don't know the details of Ogun State and their side. I've not been able to find out what was their reasons for the termination of the agreement. But we need to be, as a government, no matter what level, we need to have this continuity. And we need to honor our agreements. And we need to also, we don't go to China and look for joint venture agreements, but they come here.
Right.
So there is no fraud when a Chinese man comes here and we sign something and say, okay, we want you to do this. If he fails to do it, let's take him to court. Let's do the processes that we agreed on. But you can't go arresting people and putting them in jail and chasing them out of Nigeria and then expect them not to do anything.
I know you are not a lawyer, but some people say there's pressure now on the Attorney General of the Federation, who doubles as Minister of Justice, to do something quickly about this. But it appears to be a one-way traffic for us. That's to say that it seems the only option we have is to pay and move on.
Because the Attorney General sitting in the office today was not there when the award was made in 2021. So what is he going to do to change it? He can't. And that's the idea of being, successive in terms of this is the problem that we have left. Let's deal with it and fix it.
Right.
But if maybe there is a propensity to say it's not our problem, and it is our problem. Let's fix it. This Chinese company, whatever they did that is wrong, let's hold them to account. But they can also hold us to account if we did something wrong.
It's interesting. I don't know what lessons we can be learning from this as a country and as a government. We have seen governors across the state since 1999 signing all sort of MOUs, memoranda of understanding, with Chinese firms, Lebanese firms, firms from Europe, Far East Asia, and so on and so forth. Just in the middle of all of these now, frontline political economist, Professor Pat Utomi, is also accusing the former governor, Senator Amosun, of having also cancelled a contract he had with the state. How true or otherwise that is left to be seen. Exactly. But if we continue like this, are we not going to have governors and state governments that put this country into a very bad place where Republican come out?
Very much so, because the governors are doing this. They do certain things to get this their political, goodwill. I brought this. I have done this. We have provided a free trade zone. We have done this with the Chinese. We have brought this company from Lebanon. This is programs that they think is going to help develop their state. But let's do it in such a way that we have all the necessary agreements is backed by the federal government. And let's make sure that we have a template in Nigeria that any governor that is going to do something that involves foreign entities must pass through this template in order for them to do it. So that Nigeria is not...
Maybe with the involvement of the federal government?
Yes, yes, yes. The federal government should be part and parcel. Any entity that is coming from outside Nigeria, we should not allow just the state just to do what they want, and then we end up holding the bag because the state has failed to do what they agreed to do. Because this is the example.
Right.
You know. So I think for us, the governors, they mean well, but they're not implementing well. So let the federal government come in and help them implement this agreement so that it doesn't become an embarrassment. This is an embarrassment for Nigeria. A presidential jet is going to be held by a foreign entity. It's not even a government. Just a company is going to hold a presidential jet.
Not even on the Chinese soil?
Not even on Chinese
somewhere in Europe?
Yes, somewhere in Europe. So, and we stopped going and signing all these international, members of, arbitration international. We've signed a lot for what? We don't need them.
President Bola Tinubu has a trip to France now. Some people are saying, well, it can't be for any other reason than to sort of find a way to mediate in this matter. For whatever it's worth, let's assume that's the reason for this trip. Do you think that makes any difference? Because when we had the same issue with a leading telecoms company, South African company, we remember former President Jacob Zuma flew into Nigeria to also intervene. That was an issue of tax at that time in excess of ₦1 trillion. Will President Tinubu's touching ground on the French soil make any difference in this regard?
Yes, it would, because what is being damaged now is the image of Nigeria.
Okay.
And the president is the image of Nigeria, so he should fix it. So it's good to go and see what is the, underlying issue, and what do we do in France to make sure that, this doesn't happen in France or in any other country. Because by not doing anything, this case still persists. And these people are not going to relent until they get paid. So I think the president is in good stead to go and just, even if there's something else he wants to do, but at least he should also have a conversation about this. What happened? We are coming in at the end of it. What do we do to, make it go away? And I think it's necessary. All presidents have to worry about the image of a nation. That's his primary job. So I think it's good for him to go on.
Okay, so let's see how this pans out with this Chinese firm and Nigeria authorities. I've been speaking with engineer Habu Dauda Mesoro, ICT consultant. He's also National Organizing Secretary for Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu Support Group. Thank you for coming to share these insights with us this morning.
I appreciate it.
Great. We'll take a quick break now, everyone. When we return, we'll have our second conversation that borders on the incessant kidnapping in this country and what can be done by way of reviewing the methods that we've been using in the past years. We'll bring you that conversation after this break. Do stay with us.